Okay, good morning. Welcome to
FamilyMath1002.
FamilyMath1002. So today we are going to, sorry, I got a little bit of a cough. Today we're going to be looking at a game I learned about on the Mathematical Objects podcast yesterday, although the podcast came out a few days ago. It's a game called Ox Blocks. And the game is an interesting version of tic-tac-toe that came out in, I think they said it was like 1970 when this game was released.
Okay.
Do you know anybody who was so old that they were born around 1970?
You.
Oh yeah. How about that? So this is a variant of tic-tac-toe. It has these interesting dice that I wanted. This is the whole reason I wanted to show you the picture. So the dice on them have O's on two opposite sides, X's on two opposite sides, and kind of a hole through the middle.
Huh.
And one thing that was interesting is that Peter Rowlett said on the podcast that he was curious if these were fair. So he actually he bought a copy of this game on eBay, and he rolled these 500 times, or 501 times. So what do you think? Do you think a dice like this would be close to fair if it had a hole through it? Well, first of all, what would you even do to judge?
Well, you'd have to roll it a lot and then see how many times each face came up.
Okay.
I mean, you have to have 3 categories probably instead of 6. You have to have like the O's, the X's, and the blank face.
Uh-huh.
But
I won't remember the numbers exactly, but he said, if I'm remembering right, he said he rolled it 501 times, and it was roughly, the X was 160, the O was 160, and the blank was 180.
Okay.
so reasonably fair, I guess.
Yeah. At the end, for the last part of this project, we're going to do a simulation.
All right.
And we're going to see how often, if you had a fair die, how often in 501 rolls, I know this doesn't add up to 501, but in 501 rolls, how often you got something that was 180 or higher with 3 choices. So that should be an easy program.
All right.
Okay. So what do you think if you got this? What can you conclude? Anything?
So these dice are close to fair, but not exactly fair.
I don't think you could conclude anything. It's just one trial,
Okay.
and I mean they're both kind of roughly 1/3 of 500.
Okay.
So
What if you did it instead of 500 times? What if you did it like 100 more times and you got something like this?
then you might be able to say something.
Conclusive.
You don't think you'd get 108 or 18,000 back?
I mean, it's a lot rarer.
Okay.
I'd still do more trials.
Oh, you'd still do more. Okay.
It's usually not a good idea to just look at one.
Okay. Cool. All right. So then, before we move on to the game, I want to explain how the game is played. And I played it with your brother last night, but so he understands a little bit. So it's a tic-tac-toe-like game. The object is to make a straight line of X's or O's, just like you do in tic-tac-toe. Or, do you know what they call tic-tac-toe in the United Kingdom?
No.
Knots and crosses. One player likes to play X's and the other O's. Each player may start by rolling any one of the ox blocks. If a player throws his own symbol, X or O, he may place it on the board in any position. If he throws his opponent's symbol, he must still place it on the board. In this case, he'll try to help his opponent as little as possible.
Okay.
So you might be X's, your brother might be O's. You roll the die, and you get an X or an O, and you have to play that. Either player throws a block with the open face upwards. He may remove one of his opponent's blocks from the board. If his opponent has no blocks on the board, he must remove one of his own blocks.
Okay.
And if there's no blocks on the board, then that's just like a pass. Players take turns to throw the blocks until one player makes a complete line. So what do you think about this game before having played it?
It's an interesting twist on tic-tac-toe. It seems like there's maybe a little more strategy involved than tic-tac-toe.
All right.
I mean, it's not all that complicated of a game, so it shouldn't like go on for half an hour. These games will probably be pretty quick.
Oh, okay. Nice. Okay. Why do you think this game is different than regular tic-tac-toe? Like, what's one thing that's different about this game compared to tic-tac-toe? So how the gameplay will be different?
Well, you can remove things from the
Okay.
Because like usually in normal tic-tac-toe, if someone takes the center, they either win or they can tie.
Okay.
But in this version, you could potentially take it away.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, well, we're going to play. We're going to play, since we don't have the ox blocks, we're going to play with a 12-sided die and look at mod 3.
Okay.
All right, so let's do that now.